Disclaimer: the following songs do have music as a backing track provided by the author, however, they do not fit the actual lyrics. Therefore, I will be singing over the music rather than with the music. Danganronpa Togami, Volume 1, Chapter 4. Me, the School, and I, the first half. Part 1. It's got to take some skill to be an idol. Lyrics by Soo Uai. Composition by Junganet. My talent keeps on winning. La 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 la. My schedule's unforgiving. The proof that I'm here living is in my album sales. It's my responsibility to show you possibility. So sing with unanimity the symphony of hope. I can't just trust what's cut and dried, there's more than black and white. When something fills me up with pride, what makes me feel so right? It's gotta take some skill to be an idol. Is a sweet face really all I'm selling on? It's gotta take some skill to be an idol. My love will keep on moving when I'm gone. My heart is brimming over. I only hope the reason is all the kindness living in the world. My talent keeps on winning. La 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 la. My dreams still keep me spinning. My footsteps are beginning to leave a mark on you. From just one possibility, you make it to reality. Encourage some prosperity in the flowering of hope. I can't just blindly follow what I'm told adults should be. I'm dreaming of tomorrow. But is this the world I dream? It's gotta take some skill to be an idol. To say it's fair would be a fantasy. It's gotta take some skill to be an idol. The power in myself motivates me. When all my tears are over, I only hope the reason is all the kindness living in the world. Yeah. As I listened to the Idol song streaming from the last two generations ago sound system in the car, I was on the run with the idol who sang the song, sitting right next to me. Aoba sat in the front passenger seat, a rather lethargic expression on her face. We had a full tank of gas. The car was very well maintained for how old it was. We could go anywhere as fast as we wanted. Fast enough to make us sick sounded about right. We could go anywhere in this car. What was this? The first time I got to be on center stage was for this song. I was given center stage to counter groups like Esnary and Mixed Juice, so it still means a whole lot to me. Aoba slid the CD she had brought with her out of the CD player. I hate it. I gave her my honest opinion. Are your fans happy with you flaunting the truth about how everything comes down to talent? They're not my fans specifically, they're fans of the group. I still can't believe that you're an idol, though I did think you were cute. We aren't allowed to confirm or deny it when someone calls us cute, said Aoba. Being cute is only natural for an idol, but if we were just honestly to say, yep, I sure am cute, we're going to get a backlash. But then if we deny it and say, no, I'm not cute, then of course we're going to get backlash for that too when we look like this. So, what do you do? Well, the theory is you either silently bow your head or be vague in your reply and just say, thank you very much. Aoba stuck her head out of the car window and said, it's a nice breeze. I thought it was pretty twisted that Aoba had to go to such lengths to be modest about her talent, and yet she released a whole song advocating for talent. But it made more sense when I remembered the phrase, love-hate relationship. I had a love-hate relationship with talent myself. Those kids from the Hopes Peak Academy affiliated junior high school mystery research society probably were too. If they had only love for talent, or only hatred, they probably couldn't cook up a plan like Operation Global Locked Room Transformation. It may just be my pet theory that their strange behaviour can be all chalked up to a love-hate relationship, but just because it's unsubstantiated doesn't mean it's necessarily untrue. I'm thinking about heading to the airport. My mouth started moving before I could really think about what I was saying. We'd been fleeing for about 2 hours now. We'd found and investigated some hospitals and supermarkets and other places that look like they should have people there, but we didn't find a single person. It was hard to see it as anything but the end of the world. Would the airport actually be up and running? Aoba seemed skeptical. Though we could always try hiding somewhere safe in there for a while. But if Byakuya Togami is involved in all of this, I think we should get real serious about trying to escape. I mean in zombie... Zombie? Never mind. Oh, please don't be afraid of how I might react. Now go on, don't hold back. Oh, well, if you think about zombie movies and stuff like that, it's always dangerous to hold yourself up. That's very convincing when you're the one saying it. I think when you absolutely can't take care of the problem, you shouldn't try to hide out or hold down the fort, but run as far away as you possibly can. I mean, if zombies are going to pop out rather than milling around in a shopping mall, it'd be better to escape to a forest or an island. Hence the airport? I mean, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You're free to share your own thoughts. Fleeing from an airport? It seems just like a TV drama. It's wonderful. Oh, come on. It's not that cool of a plot development. How the plot develops is dependent on you, mister. It seemed like I'd gotten her expectations up, at least for now. Where will we fly? Wherever. Rishiri? Rishiri Island doesn't have anything but sea urchins and kelp. I hope they're on a location shoot, though. Idols go on location at Rishiri? I've even been to Bunbun Kenbang. Oh, that's hardcore. This is the first time I've travelled on my own, though. I just hopped on a plane because I wanted to. Aoba smoothed down her hair so it would stop flapping in the wind. Well, it's pretty funny. I dared to break the rules and step outside, and even when that was all it was, my heart was racing. To think I would get wrapped up in world domination. Well, no course of action could be determined by a rule. Who said that? I forgot his name, but it's a quote from some foreign philosopher, I said. Even with the rules of mathematics, there's apparently no logical way to refute someone who insists that 100 plus 100 equals 6. Unless you stab a fork into their face, of course. Oh, you're very knowledgeable about obscure trivia. Well, reading books is all I ever did. You must really like them. Huh? Books? Well, I guess you could say that, I said, keeping my poker face on. I've been reading them ever since I was little. Did you have a favourite picture book? Probably Where the Wild Things Are. Oh, I love Picky and Pocky Go Swimming in the Ocean. Fu-chan the mole was really cute. Oh, the person who wrote that became a novelist, and the illustrator went on to become the main illustrator for Haruki Murakami. Ah, you must really like them, Aoba said again. That time, I answered without panicking. That's right, I love books. Oh, what's your dream for the future? Huh? Your dream for the future? You must have one. Oh, I'm pretty old by now, I said, surprised. I don't get to use words like future or dream anymore. Oh, the real problem is that you're not willing. What was that fable again, with the sour grapes? You mean The Fox and the Grapes? Yeah, that's the one, Aoba said with a small nod. The fox finds some grapes that look delicious and he tries jumping for them again and again, but they're too high for him to reach. In the end, he just gives up and says, those grapes are obviously sour anyway. You didn't even jump, mister. I don't have any talent. Have you ever felt seriously jealous when you saw Hollywood actors, or billionaires, or mafia dons, or top models, or presidents, or rock stars? Why would I? There's no way I'd ever be able to become the best of the best like that. That's not even up to age or talent. There's absolutely no way anybody is going to wind up on that level, right? The outside that's been prepared for us is more like moderate wealth, managers, university professors, lawyers, sushi chefs, marrying rich, designers, TV stars. That's the most we can aspire to. And I didn't even have enough talent to do that much. That's all there was to it. Oh, you really are inexperienced, Aoba said, continuing to pile on the blame when she saw I wasn't arguing with her. If you don't get seriously jealous when you see Hollywood actors and billionaires and mafia dons and top models and presidents and rock stars, and if you don't seriously believe that you can become any of those things, your life screeches to a halt. So why don't you go ahead right now and try making yourself more popular? I said, partly out of annoyance, and partly because I wanted to change the subject, but mostly because it was getting awkward ignoring the elephant in the room. There was silence. Aoba rolled up the window and showed me the CD jacket. It had a picture of her idol group on it. They were all there, all girls wearing colourful outfits, sparkling with youth and beauty. Aoba pointed to this one on the far right. There's a saying in Japanese, a crane and a trash heap. It's something of value surrounded by garbage. I'll probably be called out for sounding discriminatory here, but I'm bringing it up because the scene on this CD jacket was the exact inverse of that. If you have groups, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or A, B, C, or D, and if someone evaluates that grouping and tells you that you're in 4th place, you might get down on yourself about it, but you can accept it. But what if you had groups with one person in the mix who clearly didn't belong there in the first place, like 1, 2, 3, 4 star, or A, B, C, D. What if somebody told you that you were the 4th place then? Wouldn't 4th place be practically last? Aoba was a beautiful young woman with a standout voice and style, but like she said herself, it was only natural for idols to be cute. Truthfully, just looking at the CD jacket, I couldn't really see a huge difference between Aoba and the top 3 girls, and yet Aoba was 4th in place. What did they have that she didn't? Talent. That's what it comes down to in the end. Aoba must not have had enough talent as an idol. It's got to take some skill to be an idol, so when those girls sang out that opinion loud and clear, they proved it by hurting themselves in the process. I've never thought of myself as inferior, not for 1 second. But as long as she was still young, as long as she still had pride and a chance, Aoba wasn't going to let herself be crushed. This girl knew very well that there were going to be more opportunities for a dramatic reversal than she would know what to do with, and that her own talent wasn't going anywhere. She believed that she would break through to the outside. On the other hand, here I was, holing up like a mole, not doing anything but looking up at the outside with resentment in my eyes. I'll be honest, living like a mole was kinda nice. I was the bottom of the barrel, but I was also in 1st place. There's that sense of invincibility I got from being with the dregs of society. There's a sense of relief I got from being the scum of the earth. I just hadn't gotten serious yet. But after the World Domination Proclamation, the world just turned upside down. That security blanket had been ripped right away from me. I had been driven out without my consent, and I, the mole, began my new life, walking within this lawless world. No course of action could be determined by a rule. The real problem is that you're not willing. God damn it, what's gone to me all of a sudden? No course of action could be determined by a rule. The real problem is that you're not willing. God damn it, what's gone into me all of a sudden? I pushed down on the accelerator in anger, and the car sped up. I was speeding, running red lights, driving under the influence. Nobody was around to tell me that I was breaking traffic laws. Nobody else was on the road right now, no oncoming traffic, no pedestrians, no police. I was free to do whatever I wanted. When I nevertheless slowed down, it wasn't because of any traffic laws. It wasn't because anyone told me to. I, of my own free will, chose to drive more carefully. Part 2. It's gotta take some clout to conglomerate. Lyrics by me, Hiroyuki Keoin, and the composition, Junkganet. Here goes. My company keeps winning, la 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 la. My schedule's unforgiving. The proof that I'm here is living in my property tax. It's a personal proclivity for sheep and servants to line up, see? My graduation ceremony was the spring when I was 5. the second summer of junior high, otaku I would fight. And at my holiday home at the lakeside, a death game came to light. It's gotta take some clout to conglomerate. I go to Kagawa to buy some udon. It's gotta take some clout to conglomerate. I use hectares to measure my garden. I know Ginza really well. I only hope the reason is all the kindness living in the world. My company keeps winning, la la la. The government's listening. As a joke, I'll be giving Tetsuru a mecha, but then take it apart. I teach maids familiarity with ninja promiscuity. There's liquefied vulgarity all over the mansion's bedrooms. I'm gonna throw a little tantrum until I get my own Miggy. The professors are working on a spotted garden eel. It's gotta take some clout to conglomerate. I buy as many koi fish as I should. It's gotta take some clout to conglomerate. The Flames game fund went down in the Grill Them Good. My sofa is real leather. I only hope the reason is all the kindness living in the world. As we listen to what turned out, as the case might be, the Denpa song streaming from the cutting-edge, state-of-the-art sound system in the car, we chased after Byakuya-sama. Hiroyuki-san was keeping the pedal to the metal, racing the Mercedes down the road. Our gas was about 60%. The car was well maintained. We could go as fast as we wanted. Fast enough to make us sick sounded about right. We could do anything in this car. What was this? I make Denpa songs as a hobby, but this is the first one I've really been satisfied with, so it's a favourite of mine. Though it'd be tough to get to the levels of Denki Groove or Henshitai. It's hard to reach Zen Enlightenment. Please take this more seriously. What, the song? I don't care about your hobby. I'm talking about your attitude. Oh, so this is about the song, Ryuki-san said, smiling bitterly. I've got your precious little prodigy, don't worry about it. A white dot was moving at an incredible speed across the navigation screen, tracking the location of the GPS receiver in Byakuya-sama. Countless wiggling green dots probably represented an estimation of the crowds of people. They spread out, with Prague at the centre. The white dot was heading straight to Prague. The Mercedes sped down the European route E67, chasing after Byakuya-sama. The road looked like it had been formed by the cutting of the desolate earth down the middle, similar to the scenery in Hokkaido. But I don't need to waste my time describing the scenery, when it would be better spent telling you how we managed to escape the Church of Bones. Well then, back to business.
Dogs equals lookup. Number 61998325. Title, Rush Job.
The Church of Bones is collapsing. Cracks run up the steeple we are standing on, and our footing becomes unsteady. Me. What should we do? Hiroyuki. It's gonna collapse any minute now. A remarkably loud roar resounds as it caves in. We both fall. Me. Oh no! Hiroyuki. Don't worry. Snapping his fingers with a broad gesture. The Mercedes arrives via remote control at a furious speed. The roof automatically opens up to make it an open-air car, and we fall into the seats as if we were being sucked in. Hiroyuki. Made it just in time for the party. Me. Wait, if you could do something like this, why didn't you just do it from the beginning? Hiroyuki, scratching his head. Haha, you got me there. A lazy explanation? Perhaps, but only because I'm still irritated about it. How dare you play around like that when your own sister was kidnapped? I glared at Hiroyuki from the back seat. Well, those classmates of yours must have been playing around too, right? Hiroyuki-san switched to the radio. Because if they were being serious, they're pretty fucking psycho. I'm surprised Janet Leigh wasn't there. The radio was set to a news station with constant updates on the riots. Borgs had finally managed to get online, and according to the information I could retrieve that way, along with the mail I'd gotten, though I wasn't really sure about the details or how trustworthy the information was, I determined that while the world domination proclamation was happening, locked room murders were happening across the globe, and it might be wise to consider the possibility that those events were related. Additionally, judging from their conversation at the Church of Bones, there's a very high possibility that Princess Sonia and Soda-san were connected to Byakuya-sama's imposter. I didn't want to believe it, but the idea that my classmates had gone off the deep end was well substantiated. And if that was the case, the pitiful cattle that they were looking for. Not only are they fucking psycho, but they've got their pop on the wrong foot too, Hiroki-san continued. I wish I had some kind of word to really express the situation here. Like, you know, they're psycho, and they're pop in that kind of way. They're like, psycho but also pop. Psychopop. That's the word I'm thinking of. I came up with it, so I own the rights. That's motherfucking originality right there. Oh my god, just shut up already, you turtle. I didn't say that. The satellite phone was resting on the back seat and was showing a heavily made up girl in the center of its screen. It was Junko Enoshima-san from our flying column. She looked kind of sulky. Turtle? Hiroki-san turned around, a look of surprise on his face. Where'd that come from? I don't know, but you seem kind of turtly. Rude. I don't need to hear that from someone who's named after an island whose specialty is raw whitebait. Oh, shut up and drive, turtle boy. Oh, I guess I actually got along pretty well. That's a relief. Actually, Enoshima-san, what happened to Fukawa-san? I don't see her. Oh my god, you have to listen to this. So about that, Fukawa left the school. She what? So earlier, Senpai sent us a mail about Togami being kidnapped, right? So Fukawa totally lost her mind after that. And she was like, okay, I'm gonna give you a Junko-chan style impression of what she said. Wow, that was pretty uncanny. So Fukawa is going to the international airport now. She said she's going to Prague. Well, that's a problem. My true thoughts slipped out. You think it's a problem for you? What about me? Now she left me here to defend for myself all alone, and my sister isn't here for me. And I've been up all night, so my makeup is all over the place. I'm tired, I haven't had anything to eat, and I'm seriously about to drop any minute now. In Prague, it was 11:20 PM, but that meant in Japan it was 6:20 AM. That seemed like a pretty rough time zone for her to pull an all-nighter without eating anything. Enoshima-san, why don't you go look after her now? I'm hiding in the gym supply room right now. Gym supply room? Hiroki-san shouted for some reason. So that Gyaru's finally gonna give us some fan service. Front Shoin is rush printing a new release in my heart. Congrats on the release of Super Beast Legend V3. Turtle seems like he's way less popular with the ladies than you think he is. I thought the same thing. So Enoshima-san, why did you go back to the gym supply room of all places? Teachers keep coming back to the school, and at first I thought I could get them to save me and stuff, but actually, whatever my senses are tingling, I have a really bad feeling. Bad feeling? It's kind of seems like the teachers know who the fake Togami is, and Enoshima dropped a bombshell on us while she was busy organizing her makeup kit. Huh? Who is it? Let me ask you a question instead. Do you know the super high school level imposter? It was true that Hope's Peak Academy had several students whose personalities could make them something like hidden characters, such as the super high school level secret agent and the super high school level absentee club member. How is the imposter doing? Those were the words of Princess Sonia, but I had absolutely no idea who she was talking about. Do we have a student like that? Don't ask me, I just heard the teachers talking about it. That there's a super high school level imposter, and maybe they were doing stuff in Togami's place, but also that they should hide out during the conference. Hold on, Enoshima-san, what conference? Oh, the school's setting up a press conference thing. Huh? But you said that they were going to try and cover up the fact that there's a super high school level imposter. I know, right? That's a total scandal. Well, they can't just get away with hiding something like that. Now, don't look at me. Can't you do something? I just said, don't look at me. You can't ask a Gyaru to take care of something like this. Oh, Tihi, sleep me. I just remembered how to take care of this. Mishima-san took a scrap paper out of her cleavage. So, here's my report. Report? Okay, time for a pop quiz. Huh? What happened to the report? Multiple choice question. Which of the following talents is good at resolving incidents? Number 1, Gyaru. Number 2, Gyaru detective. And number 3, non-Gyaru detective. Number 3. Ding ding ding! You got it right away. So like in my class there's this broody girl that she's the super high school level detective, and so like she gave me a message for Togami. She unfolded the scrap paper. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot that. I wrote a memo so that I wouldn't forget. That's Jinko-chan for you. Sometimes I just feel like I'm dime a dozen token idiot character, I swear. Just hurry up and read it. Okay, let's see now. It says, remember the past. At that moment, that voice began to play from the car radio, and the emergency disaster warning speakers and from orgs. This may be sudden, but I will announce the next bonus stage. Oh, there you are, Yuriki-san said, turning up the volume. I know what he's gonna say next. Whoever finds me in the next hour gets a cash prize. Then the fake said, I am somewhere in the Czech Republic. Whoever finds me shall be rewarded. Which basically meant right on the money. Damn, Turtle, how did you know? Those guys lost back at the Church of Bones. And not only did the young master get snatched up by the Hasegawa Research Institute, but they probably can't find out where we went either. If that's the case, then the only thing they can do is light a fire under the masses to get them to go over the country with a fine tooth comb.
Orgs equals lookup. Number 01799012. Title, World Domination Proclamation, Part 3.
This may be sudden, but I will now announce the next bonus stage. I am somewhere in the Czech Republic. Whoever finds me shall be rewarded. However, there is something I wish to tell you beforehand. To tell you the truth, I am fed up with the snail's pace you simpletons are moving at. My irritation has hit its boiling point. When you are slow, you are damaging, regardless of whether or not you have motivation or talent. I wish death to all dawdlers. By which I mean die. By which I mean speed it up. By which I mean come to me. I will not impose a set time limit on this bonus stage, but in the event that I am not found, you will be penalized. You understand my meaning, don't you? I am being serious about this. Allow me to demonstrate that once again. That is all. Part 3. Regrets are part and parcel of turning points in life. Like, if only I'd scored a little higher on the bell curve, then maybe. Or, if only I'd aimed left instead of right, then maybe. Or, if only I hadn't been too shy to confess back then maybe. That kind of thing. I don't have anything like that though. I mean, that's just being conceited. As we enjoyed our drive, our decidedly non-cheerful conversation continued. The World Domination Proclamation that had just taken over the radio that had off-the-rails polish to it. But to me, that may as well have been something that was happening in another world altogether. Even if I'd scored a little higher on the bell curve, and even if I had aimed left instead of right, and even if I'd confessed to my crush, nothing would have gone any differently for me. Don't you have any hope? Aoba asked, curious, but her curiosity was curious in itself. Of course I didn't. There were countless people who'd have their hopes crushed by Hope's Peak Academy. This was a really embarrassing confession to make, and anyone who ever says this is a blight upon this earth who is just begging for death. But I used to be a novelist. Or at least, wanted to be one. Some musicians sent their demo tape to a record label and thought, I can make my debut like I'm this. Or some novelists sent their manuscript to a Rookie of the Year contest and thought, I'm sure it will win. That's the kind of hubris which is only permissible for those who have talent. I fucked it up. I thought, without anything to back it up, Hope's Peak will come to scout me. You could say that their entirely scouting-based system means, in a sense, that you can just wait with your mouth open. But that perspective leads to the following tragedy. In high school, I believed in my own talent and waited for Hope's Peak to come scout me. I waited 1 year, I waited 2 years, I waited 3 years, nobody came to scout me. When I was in my 3rd year, I dropped out of high school and went through the admissions process all over again at a different high school, meaning I became a brand new 1st year for the 2nd time. I waited 1 year, I waited 2 years, I waited 3 years. Nobody came to scout me. I had talent, but it was only then that I truly realized that there are monsters in this world, whose gargantuan talent is far beyond comparison to my own. The super high school level literary girl and super high school level light novelist and so on were completely not my thing, but even under their chosen subject matter was pure garbage. Their outrageous talent was undeniable. Then came the day of my graduation ceremony. Diploma in hand, I walked past the current students as they sent me off with well wishes, and then I happened to see a man standing in front of the school gates. He wore a suit, and on the lapel was a glittering pin that symbolized the Star of Hope. He was part of Hope's Peak Academy's faculty. He was a scout. He raised both hands, sending a smile my way. Finally, his smile seemed to say, "I thought I was saved." He passed through the school gates, walked up to me, and then kept walking past me, to talk to the brand new 1st year that had been standing nearby. Congratulations on graduating. Later, I did some research and found that the person who had been scouted right in front of me had enrolled at Hope's Peak Academy as the super high school level cook. Apparently after graduation, he was set to become the exceptionally young boss of the Imperial Cuisine Division. So that's about it for my little failure story. I don't really need to explain the rest, do I? You don't need me to tell you about the stuff after that, like the first time I ever tried alcohol, or the nitty-gritty details about how I started living as a mole, right? I got dumped. Dumped by my talent. I'm telling you, you're wrong. Even after listening to everything I had to say, I however repeated the same words. Your lack of willpower is the problem here. Part 4.
Orbs equals log lookup number 109229770. Title: Hope's Peak Academy Press Conference.
On the stage stand, Jin Kirigiri, the headmaster of Hope's Peak Academy, and 2 men, names unknown, presumably members of the steering committee, although not entirely sure. For purposes of this, will be referred to as committee members. Also, for questions that are not rejected, all answers are provided by Jin Kirigiri. Committee Member 1. I would like to thank everyone for assembling here so early in the morning. We are hosting this conference today to clear up any confusion on our school's connection to the World Domination Proclamation that was released on 1 AM Sunday in Japan time, and 6 PM Saturday in the local time zone. Question: what do you have to say about this person calling themselves Byakuya Togami? Committee Member 1. Please hold your questions until later. We will tell you when it is time for the question and answer session. First, let us make the official statement that our school has no connection whatsoever to the World Domination Proclamation. As was just mentioned, someone is going by the name of our student Byakuya Togami. However, this person is not the same as the Byakuya Togami that is attending Hope's Peak Academy as a student of the 78th class. They are a fake, and that is the truth based on facts. Thus concludes our official statement. Next, we will open up the floor for our question and answer session. Please state your name and affiliation before asking a question. Our headmaster will be providing the answers for you, so we'll start with you over there. Question: I apologize for earlier. My name is Kibi from Greater Japan News. Is the real young Togami doing okay? Answer. We have not been able to confirm any news regarding the student Byakuya Togami. There was a new activity from the fake just a short while ago, so we are pouring everything we can into our investigation. Then, next question. You there. Question. This is Osawa with the nightly newspaper. Do you know the identity of the imposter? Answer. We are currently trying to confirm that, and we are using the full extent of Hope's Peak Academy's resources in order to look into that as well as cooperating with demands of police agencies, so I am confident that we'll be very shortly able to identify him. Question. What is your personal opinion on the headmaster? Answer. I would like to avoid the situation where what I say as an individual ends up unnecessarily skewing perceptions, so I will refrain from speaking in that way. Are there any other questions? Yes, you there, go ahead. Question. This is Anazawa with PQP News. The Togami conglomerate has not issued any comment regarding this incident. Has Hope's Peak been in contact with the Togami conglomerate? Answer. We have been mutually exchanging information. I cannot reveal the contents of this communication, but we will be continuing in our close contact with them in order to resolve the situation. Next question. You there. Question. This is Yamada with North Sun newspaper. Do you have any idea why this imposter would take Togami-san's name? For example, a grudge against the school or the Togami conglomerate? Answer. We are currently trying to confirm that. Question. But it seems that both Hope's Peak Academy and Togami conglomerate have earned considerable resentment. Answer. We are presently trying to confirm that. Next up, over there raising your hand, please go ahead. Question. This is Boccaccio, Dante's journal. For this incident, as for your school establishment, do you plan to bear the responsibility and reparations? And to what degree of the scope this will be? Answer. Well, Committee Member 1. Journalists, if I could repeat myself, the current happening is unrelated to our school and to our student Byakuya Togami. Adhering to your journalistic standards, what you should be publishing is the fact that this is an underhanded attack, that this is fraudulently misusing the name of an honor student in our school. Question. But there is the point of view that Togami-san was targeted because he is a student of your school establishment. Committee Member 1. Even if he may have been susceptible to that, our student Byakuya Togami has become the enemy of the world. Can you not all use your pens to clear his name, to dispel his false charges and reveal his innocence? Can you not save the life of a single young talent? Question. Kibi here again. You say that, but it's a little questionable that Hope's Peak is playing with the victim in this situation. Setting aside the unsavory rumors surrounding the Togami conglomerate, I do want to save the young man from the vilification of rubberneckers. I want to report the truth to support the cause, but in order to do that, I'd like Hope's Peak to tell the truth too. Committee Member 2. Stop trying to intimidate us. Committee Member 1. If I could have a word, the enemy of the world has no relation to the Hope's Peak Academy nor the Togami conglomerate. They are a fake that is dragging another person's name through the mud so they can spit on the world without showing their face, and your job as journalists is to take on the poisonous doubt that they have scattered. That distrust of your fellow man, that egotism, that violence, that faulty logic, that destructive predelication, you must expose all of those things. And I would ask that you would not forget that. Anything else? Question. This is Nango with the Shiroshi Times. I have a question for the headmaster. What do you have to say about the reports claiming there is internal conflict within the school? Answer. Those are nothing but rumors. Question. However, the parade put on by your reserve corps showed no signs of resolution, and that is only one of the many difficulties facing the school. Are you aware that there are also rumors that Hope's Peak Academy distributed the so-called despair novel? Answer. There are no internal problems with our school, and even if there were, given the current state of our world, it would only be natural to conclude that there is a direct correlation there. Are there any other questions? We're running out of time, so this next question will be the last one. You over there, please go ahead. Question. This is Kaneko with LLC News. Headmaster, can I ask your thoughts on the latest riots? Committee Member 2. Please refrain from asking about personal opinions. Answer. Let me answer this one. Committee Member 2. Headmaster. Answer. Hope must be hope for everyone. Hope must shine beautiful and unfaltering, no matter where you are and what perspective you're seeing it from. Hope's Peak Academy was founded on the idea that talent is the hope of humanity, and it exists as a symbol of hope. No matter what despair and adversity it must face, hope will not collapse. We work to demonstrate that. As was just pointed out, our school is dealing with the problem of the parade. Perhaps our very existence as a school causes a dilemma. However, that is all the more reason why I don't want to abandon hope, and why I want to face this incident head-on until it is resolved. Does that suffice? We've run over time, so that brings this conference to an end. Thank you all very much for your cooperation. Part 5. That was a pretty good speech. Part 6. Ugh. That was the worst speech I've ever heard. The whole time I was listening to that interview playing through the car radio, I didn't hear a single thing that I'd call honest, straightforward answer. It was just despicable of them to try and suppress a scandal for one of their students. That's politics for you. When all is said and done, it's just a bunch of pretty words like hope until everyone's ears bleed. It's still possible that Hope's Peak just hasn't realized anything yet. That would be even worse. The car finally made it into town. We just needed to take an exit here and then it would be a straight shot to the airport. But then, there in the town, there were people there in no small number, as if nothing was wrong. Weren't those lights on in the buildings? Human figures walking around? Cars driving down the road? Oiber and I laughed almost simultaneously, filled with the stability of the world, the sturdiness of the rules, the boldness of humanity, and something else. Plain old relief? We couldn't help but laugh. It was very similar to being disappointed. I casually glanced over to the side of the road, evenly spaced telephone poles, and the car swayed, and the next thing I knew, I saw one of them coming towards me with an incredible force. But before I could even think that I was going to crash, I was rear-ended. I reflexively slammed on the brakes and spanned the steering wheel. My vision spun like I had been shoved into a washing machine, messing with my inner ear. And then I realized that I'd lost consciousness. How long had I been out? A minute? An hour? I couldn't use my head with the unpleasant high-pitched noise ringing in my ears. It felt like I was completely disconnected from my surroundings. It was an emptiness that felt very similar to the day I graduated without being scouted and became a perfectly ordinary person. Assaulted by the sensation of the world pulling the ladder out from under me. Still, my instincts shouted at me to move already, and I followed those instincts like the animal I was. I couldn't have expected a luxury like airbags in such an old car, but I'd been wearing my seatbelt, thank God for my middle-class habits, so I didn't have any fatal wounds. Even so, I heard all over like I'd been bumped around the door and dashboard. I raised my head with difficulty to look past the shattered windshield and saw a telephone pole that had broken off the base. Alba. Oh, she was bleeding. Huh? She was clutching her side as a chilling amount of blood poured out of it. The cramped car was stuffed with the smell of fresh new blood. I was still confused, but I was being dropped fast back into reality. I had to think. I had to use my good judgment. For what? How? Huh? I could see the town past it, the broken telephone pole. It was completely destroyed as if a tornado had gone through it. Houses had collapsed, fires were burning here and there. A tenacious black smoke spread throughout the area. The sky at some point became covered in deep black clouds. The road was piled with rubble, and the dead littered in the streets. Urba ground, blood leaking from her nose. So even idols get nosebleeds, I thought to myself. Part 7. A satellite had fallen somewhere in the world. Or so it had seemed to me, but I didn't have time to actually check. The white dot on the navigation screen was an obviously strange location. The Vltava River that extended through Prague to the north and the south. The dot represented Byakuya-sama had come to a stop, somewhere in the middle of it. What was that supposed to mean? Why would he be in the river? Oh, come on! Ryuki-san exclaimed, irritated from the driver's seat. Though we'd finally made it back to Prague, it had turned into Riot Central. The warning signs had already been in place ever since the instant the World Domination Proclamation first went out, but now the voices of the protesters had finally spread out to cover the entire city. The beautiful, quaint capital was now swarmed with countless flags and countless vocal demands, groups of people blocking off major roadways, screaming, "We will not give in," the entire time. The point is, the citizens of Prague had gone ballistic. A resounding no to world domination gushed up from every crack in the time-worn stone pavement of this city of 100 spires. "Well, we're not going to be able to cut through the heart of the city. Let's take a detour." Hiroki-san took the Mercedes down an alleyway, averting the wave of protests. "What's wrong with our navigation system?" I pointed at the stationary white dot. "Is Byakuya-sama alright? Hey! Don't worry your pretty little head over it." Hiroki-san tapped the panel and zoomed in on the map. In the spot I thought must as surely have been in the middle of the river. It showed a small island. "What's this?" "That's Desky Island. I'm pretty sure that the literal translation would be something like Children's Island. That's where the bossy boy is. Sister's probably there too." The Mercedes pulled up in the Jewish quarter, but rather than go on a field trip to the awe-inspiring synagogues, we left the flood of road signs in the stone pavement, heading down the road and alongside the Vitava River. But the area around the bridge was jam-packed with people and cars, and there was nothing we could do. Judging by the navigation system, there wasn't any way we could get to the island unless we went to the far side of the river. Hiroki-san clicked his tongue and said, "Well, let's lighten the mood a little," sticking a CD into the car's slot. A chorus of voices sung as it played. This old familiar river, Vitava the Moldu. My heart lies within the pure water flowing down. This captivating river, Vitava the Moldu. The blue water's surface still affects me even now. The sun shines down and fills it up gently at streams. A song is always playing in its rippling. And down by the rocks there's a splash spraying up and swirling around. The Vltava River I'd first learned about in music class had been about bridges, according to my research using Borgs, but before I could even report that information, Hiroyuki-san had already started zooming down the riverside road. But even the main bridge built by pioneers of Czech Cubism and the historic Charles Bridge, and the kind of disturbingly named Legion Bridge, were all backed up and blocking passage. Never destroyed by war or calamity, deliberately complex to avoid enemy infiltration, and loudly proclaimed as a World Heritage Site on top of all that, the streets of Prague were all doomed to generate traffic jams at the first sign of panic. Good grief. I should take some tips from my homeland and check out the highways on Japanese bridges. Hiroyuki-san sounded the horn, but that did absolutely nothing. It just got more congested the more we crept forward, and by the time we were about halfway there, traffic had come to a complete standstill, with nothing to be done about it. I turned towards the Vltava. Even with my naked eye, I could see that the island we thought was Byakuya-sama was on, one of the small islands that looked like it was in a sandbar. With Borgs, though, I could measure the distance between us. If I went in a straight line, it would be about 312 meters. We just needed to get a little further. It was right there. Milady? Yes? No matter how much Hope's Peak ends up accumulating, all they're doing is churning out teams of freak shows by the dozen. But you know what is different? That isn't just a skill or a technique. It's the ability to influence the rules of this world. You and your young master experienced it before in the past. You experienced the secret to the Togami family's prosperity. Isn't that right? I was silent. I'm Hiroyuki Kitawane. I'm just a trickster who doesn't have anything to do with Hope's Peak or the Togami conglomerate. I'm never going to be a main character. I'm never going to be a star. But you, my lady, are different. What I am is Byakuya-sama's property. Do you think that makes a difference? The main character in The Little Prince isn't the prince. You're the super high school level secretary. So, of course you're a capable storyteller. And a capable writer too. It's amazing when you get right down to it. You wouldn't try to cheer me up, would you? Would I? Or are just those my parting words? The moment Hiroyuki-san smiled at me, the Mercedes shot forward at a high speed. Wait, what? But weren't we cut off and trying to use the road? I can fly! Hiroyuki-san shouted, and my confusion was answered. He's planning on jumping into the Vltava. The Mercedes couldn't accelerate much with how blocked off the road was. So, of course, it fell before it even flew 10 meters. You really couldn't call it flying at all. Birdman contest failed. We were still about 300 meters away from Children's Island. I'm leaving my sister to you, Hiroyuki-san fiddled with the navigation, and the sunroof above us was opened up all the way. As soon as I thought I felt a vibration in my behind, I was shot out of the car along with the back seat I had been sitting in. There, I went. The human rocket. A relentless assault of G-force was trying to shatter my hip bone. I had been thrown up with such tremendous power that the wind had filled my mouth and left me unable to breathe. My butt cheeks were being crushed by my pelvis. And above me was the sky. Below was the Vltava. I could only assume that Mercedes had sunk into the river, since it was nowhere to be seen. I didn't think that Hiroyuki-san would die here, but if this was how he left center stage, then he really was an awful trolling trickster. The seat I was riding in finally gained some stability and began to complete the parabola of its trajectory. I could see the island. I caught a glimpse of residential roofs and cars. The ground was heading towards me too. Something I can use as a parachute is... nothing that I have. Well, I left out of my seat, positioned both knees and one arm to protect, and I could make a 3-point landing. However, don't try that at home. That move is only for trained professionals. With nothing, it would be realistically be able to absorb the inertia and ended in a violent tumble across the ground. It being my battered and bruised muscles. I stifled my wheezing, forcefully moving my body. and found something surprising. A gymnasium. A massive, old-fashioned school building. A wooden building next to it housed the dorms. There was even a church, albeit a small one. It seemed I'd fallen onto a school campus. Suddenly, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. Byakuya-sama? There laid despair. Part 8. The town was, shall I say, done for. The road had been ripped up out of place, and the few buildings that weren't completely destroyed were half destroyed. Telephone poles were completely broken, though I couldn't tell what had started the fires. I could see things burning here and there off to the side of the road. The people? Dead. All of them. If their flesh wasn't currently burning, it had been scattered into chunks for the four winds to collect. It smelled terrible. This was the smell of roasted human beings. My stomach heaved again and again in visceral rejection. The black smoke hanging overhead, the dark flecks floating in the air coloured the wrecked town, tinting it gloomier and darker. Thick clouds swirled in the sky that hadn't been there before. Looking at this scene was giving me some deja vu. I remembered that I'd seen so many war videos on TV that I'd gotten sick of them. And there were enough of these kind of scenes in them to get sick of the scenes themselves too. Scorched earth. The rubble that was now serving as merely something for me to step on seemed to have been part of the local electronics store that was short just a while ago. A number of radios were buried under a piece of concrete. Byakuya Togami's voice echoed from the mostly broken radios in unison. I have shown you proof that your punishment for your crimes. I, with the heart, intend to continue the game. I didn't catch all of it, but I didn't care. I headed back to the car. Aoba hadn't stopped bleeding. There was nothing I could do before leaving town except for somehow managing to tie one of the shirts from her luggage into a makeshift bandage. All I could do after that was try and mop up her nosebleed as best as I could do. Aoba's hands and mine were red from pressing up against her wound, and the car was stuffy with the metallic stench, which, combined with the car's air freshener, created a despair-inducing smell. Are you alright? No response. I told you that you should wear your seatbelt. No response. I'm not going to make it to the airport like this. No response. Hey, get up. If you don't get up, that's a problem. No response. You worked so hard to be an idol. Getting hurt like this is just a waste. Aoba's hand squeezed mine for just an instant. But even that was enough to make me happy. I fondly called Aoba without thinking. You should have, Aoba said weakly, opening her eyes. Called my name a little earlier than that. Sorry. And? Huh? Don't touch. Oh, sorry. So? Aoba? No response. Aoba had closed her eyes again. I heard the sound of a jet engine off in the distance. A jeep was coming for us. As it was an open-air jeep, I could see the three riders. Four Eyes, Fatty, the girl. The reappearance of the Hope's Peak Academy-affiliated Junior High School Mystery Research Society. The jeep stopped right in front of me. Are you going to be okay with the equipment? The president seemed to look down at us. Seems like you are really having fun running away together. But this world is about survival. You know what they always say, no one knows what the future holds. Do you know how many times Conan Kun just so happened upon a murder case? Save us. Ah, savior, you say. This girl is dying and she's lost a lot of blood. And I don't know what to do anymore. I can't imagine the number of casualties there must be in this town after it had a satellite dropped right onto it. And yet, even under those circumstances, you have the audacity to ask us to save you. What, do you see Florence Nightingale riding in this jeep? Youch! The Vice President narrowed his eyes in disgust from the passenger's seat. Satami Alva, just look at all the blood you're spilling, that's gross. You can't be an idol after that. I wanted to flip out over his careless, heartless thinking, but I couldn't really throw out stones when I myself had thought, so even idols get nosebleeds. Ah, so this is the end of Satami Alba bleeding out, the Vice President continued. Well, whatever, so I can switch to number 3 girl in the rankings. Ah, alright! It's an upgrade to a better model, exciting! The treasurer swung her legs around wildly from where they extended under her skirt. Ah, these guys were having fun with whatever. They were acting like they didn't think of me or Alba or the hellish landscape stretching in front and around us as anything more than an event at an amusement park. I couldn't get through to them. But hadn't I known that from the start? Hadn't I known that from the first time I'd met them? Now then, the President said, hopping out of the jeep. You must be having a hard time. It must be hard when you're dissatisfied in life. You can't save this girl, and even though you're getting up here in years, you still haven't accomplished anything. Even when the world has become ruled by that which is out of the ordinary. Your boring, ordinary life continues. All that exists for you right now is the usual. But, funny story, perhaps that's not actually that agonizing for you. Huh? You're just from an affiliated school. I tried to make my voice sound as threatening as possible. I don't have to listen to anything you have to say. I'm rejecting that lifestyle. Nice. Good rebellious energy. Your pure hatred balled up and stuck together. Shut up. Do you know why narcotics are banned? Huh? Slaves during the age of American pioneers would work while high on coca leaves and their ilk so that they could do their job without stopping. But then that made white labourers uneasy, and they used their morals as a pretext to ban it. The logic framed it as a matter of right or wrong was nothing more than the official stance created after the effect. So what? I'm saying that those who have lost patience with the world, and those who are dissatisfied with the world, may as well keep chewing and chewing on a heap of narcotics. Vice President, the item in question, if you would. As instructed, the Vice President tossed out something at the Jeep's luggage compartment. It fell to the ground. It looked like average printouts stapled together in an average way, like a cheap amateur publication, but I was able to see through it immediately. To sense the thrall, the darkness it exuded. I was unfortunately able to. I knew. The world knew. Here's the book of the month, said the President. It was the Despair novel, of course. Part 9. Despair. There I found despair. A lone body carelessly discarded in the center of the campus. It was Byakuya Sama's corpse. Hello everyone, it's me again. Nice to see you all. Hopefully you enjoyed this bit of a longer episode today. The reason it was so long is because this chapter is actually short, so cutting it in half would make it a lot shorter. So yeah, there's lots of translator's notes, so I will not hesitate in starting them. Yeah, so the two songs, It's Gotta Take Some Skill to Be an Idol and It's Gotta Take Some Clout to Conglomerate, are actually in the novel. Yuya Sato did write actual music sheets for it, but for some reason they don't line up to the lyrics very well. So yeah, and I can't sing, so I tried to actually sing for the first one a little bit, but for the second one, because it was Hiroyuki singing, and it was a parody, obviously he wouldn't sing very well, so I kind of took some liberty of him kind of terribly trying to sing over the music like it was some bad karaoke. Needless to say, hopefully there won't be anything like that again, because that was awful. Okay, so next up is the chapter title, Me, the School, and I. These are chapters are titled using different pronouns for the different narrators we've had so far. So the narrators for chapters 1 and 3 uses watashi, so that would be blue ink, while the narrator for chapter 2 uses boku, which is the mole man. So because in English there isn't really that many words for I, it's a bit of a clunkier translation. So these chapters will be called basically Watashi and Boku at the school. So basically it's a kind of a liberal translation. So hopefully you don't mind that. Esneri and Mixed Juice are two different groups of Japanese voice actresses that have released albums together, and with some Danganronpa trivia, two of the singers in Mixed Juice are Chiwa Saito, Asahina's voice actress, and Mai Nakahara, Yukizome's voice actress. The Mole Man referenced some foreign philosopher who he couldn't remember, which was actually Ludwig Wittgenstein in writing philosophical investigations. The concept is further explored in Wittgenstein on Rules in Private Language. Picky and Pocky go swimming in the ocean. Unlike Where the Wild Things Are, this is a Japanese picture book. Now here's a whole list of references Hiroyuki mentions in his badly sung parody song. Kagawa is Kagawa Prefecture, which is famous for its udon. Ginza is a very upscale shopping district in Tokyo. Tetsuro is the main character of Galaxy Express 999, who seeks a mechanized body. Migi is a creature from Parasite that inhabits the main character's right hand, giving it superpowers. Game Fund is a sort of proto-Kickstarter. Konami started something called Game Fund, which Tokimeki Memorial to help get fans in to invest making the third Tokimeki Memorial dating sim. It worked okay, but the game wasn't very popular in the end. Re is Dio Brando's famous cry from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So alongside yada yada, we have Re coming out of the mouth of Hiroyuki, which automatically makes him the best character. A Denpa song is a niche Japanese music fad. It often features lyrics that are nonsensical or contain otaku-related themes with intentionally off-key vocals, so which is why I sung it a bit off-key. Jeanette Leigh is the actress from the movie Psycho. Flying Column is, to quote the Random House Dictionary, a force of troops equipped and organized to move swiftly and independently of a principal unit to which it is attached. So, Blue Ink considers Junko to be working for Togami just remotely. France Shoin is a Japanese publisher of erotica, and you could go to their website and have a look at the covers if you want to have an idea, although I would not advise that. Saburo Iwakawa, he wrote the Japanese lyrics set to the music that you should be hearing right now for the outro. It's also used in other areas of the music throughout the audiobook as well. And finally, Conan-kun is obviously a reference to the mystery manga Detective Conan. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this sort of longer episode. Next time will be Chapter 5, which is Me, the School, and I, second half. So I'll see you then. Have a great day, everyone.